Shalom, family. All right, we're just going to give it a few minutes for more people to come in. Thank you for coming. All right. I hope everybody is doing well. Shalom. Shalom, Brenda Hill. All right. Shalom. Shalom to everybody. All right. So, okay. All right. So, everybody in the chat, we're going to talk about this article that came out recently in regards to non-whites make up the majority of people for under the age of 16. And they're now projecting, ladies and gentlemen, that non-Hispanic whites will be the minority in just 25 years. But we know they always change the time. I have seen that time change so much. I have seen 2065, 2042, 2032. I have seen them change this a multitude of times. And I have to tell you, I think they're giving us these times because they are trying to buy more time to stay in power. So if they tell us 25 years, 30 years, another 40 years, 45 years, then they buy more time to stay at the top when their time is indeed up. For real. So let me see if I can, all right, just give me 1 second. Okay. All right, I'm just trying to get set up here and I will share my screen with you. Okay. Okay. All right, ladies and gentlemen, just give me a 1 if you can see my screen. Thank you, Loveline Turner, for the super sticker. Okay, please give me a 1 if you can see my screen. Okay, thank you so much, everybody. All right, let's get started. All right, so ladies and gentlemen, this came out in the Daily Mail. Changing face of America. Non-whites and Hispanics now make up the majority of people under the age of 16, as census data shows non-Hispanic whites could become a minority in 25 years. Non-whites and Hispanics made up the majority of the people under the age of 16 in the United States for the first time in 2019. As the new Census Bureau figures show, the nation has grown more ethnically and racially diverse over the last decade. And by the way, I want to thank one of my subscribers, Fred Williams, for this article. Data released on Thursday show a demographic shift in the United States that could see non-Hispanic whites become a minority in 25 years. So according to figures, the white population is on the decline as the number of deaths have exceeded births among the group, and white migration to the U.S. has slowed down. Meanwhile, minority groups continue to grow in size, with the Asian population seeing the biggest increase of any demographic in the past decade by almost 30%. Almost 2/3 of that growth was driven by international migration. The Black population grew by almost 12% over the decade, and the white population increased by 4.3%. Wow, that's very small. They barely moved. The Hispanic population has risen by 20% since 2010. Almost 3/4 of the growth coming from a natural increase that comes when more people are born than die. We are browning from the bottom in our age structure, says William Fry, a senior fellow of the Brookings Institute. This is going to be a diversified century for the United States. It's the beginning with the youngest generation. Since 2010, the number of whites who aren't Hispanic had dropped by more than 16,600 people. But the decline has been escalating in the past 3 years, with the number of non-Hispanic whites falling by more than 500,000 people from 2016 to 2019, according to the Census Bureau population estimates. In 2019, a little under 40% of the total U.S. population was either non-white or Hispanic. A natural decrease from the number of deaths exceeding births, plus a slowdown in immigration to the U.S., contributed to the population drop since 2010 for non-Hispanic whites, whose median age is 43.7. Last year was by far the highest of any demographic group. So the whites in the country are the oldest population here. If these numbers hold for 2020 census being conducted right now, it will be the first time since the census began in 1790 that there has been a national decline of whites, Fry said. It's aging, of course. We didn't have a lot of immigration that has gone down, Fry said. White fertility has gone down. In fact, the decrease in births among the white population has led to a dip in the number of people under age 18 in the past decade. So a drop exacerbated by the fact that the much larger millennial cohorts has aged out of that group and replaced by a smaller Generation Z. Wow. Mm-mm-mm. U.S. over 65 population, which we know the baby boomers are overwhelmingly white. The United States senior citizen population has drastically increased since 2010 as the baby boomer generation age into the demographic. The first baby boomers have reached 65 years old in 2011, and the age group has grown rapidly since. Luke Rogers, a chief of the Census Bureau Population Estimates Branch, said, no other age group saw such an increase. The number of seniors have grown by more than a third, or 13,787,044 within the last 10 years, and is up by 3.2%, or 1,688,924 from last year. People 65 and older now make up more than 16% of the U.S. population in 2019, compared to 13%, and that was in 2010. The growth of this population contributed to an increase in the national median age of 37.2 years in 2010 and 38.4 in 2019. Rogers noted that the under 18 population was actually smaller in 2019 than it was in 2010, dropping by 1.5% due to low fertility in the US. Wow. So you can see their low birth rate had a huge impact on the white population. Huge. Okay, so in 4 states, Maine, Florida, West Virginia, and Vermont, seniors accounted for 20% of the population. That's a benchmark that the overall U.S. population is expected to reach in 2030. Utah had the lowest percentage of people 65 and older, with 11.4%, followed by Washington, D.C. with 12.4%. So, ladies and gentlemen, this is part of the reason why many of these folks are out here losing their minds. And, I think they're butt sore because their populations are dropping, but that's not happening among everybody out here, especially us. Hey, Terrain, how you doing? So that being said, it's not shocked to see that there are so many vigilantes and police shootings of our people. When it comes down to birth rates, this is something they have zero control over. Thank you, Rhonda Jones, for the super sticker. Thank you for that. They have no control over these things, ladies and gentlemen. And so they are quite butt sore these days. You now got a pandemic going on in the country they have zero control over, and you have a declining birth rate they never had any control over. So a lot of what's happening to these folks today, they feel a lot less empowered, and they don't know how to deal with these things. So as time moves on and they feel like they're losing control, which they have no control, technically, when you start looking at the scheme of things, this is when they become more violent. Okay, which is very clear that they don't know how to deal with these things at all. See, for a long time, these folks really truly believe that nothing was ever going to change. They did not have to worry about nothing, and they were going to be on top forever. But history shows that there is no group that has always been on the top forever. That is very unrealistic thinking for anyone to believe that. And plus, what have they done in America to have everlasting power? Nothing. They have done absolutely nothing. And you can see they are not prepared for anything. They never prepared themselves for any type of worldwide catastrophe. They cannot handle what's going on. And it just makes me laugh every time Trump opens his mouth saying that we're doing a tremendous job in getting this under control. Trump, you don't even have this mess under control now. But I guess if you've been living in a fairy tale for centuries, then you would believe that kind of nonsense. Trump can't do anything for COVID, no more than he can do anything about the declining birth rate among his people. You know, it's amazing how these folks claim to be the inventors of medicine and science. And when it comes down to these two issues, they have showed us nothing that proves they have any type of knowledge in this field that's above everybody else. They simply haven't done it. And as far as COVID, all I can say to everybody, get ready for another shutdown. They can't control this thing. And plus, over the last, I would say, 2 months, it has been nonstop crowds out in America. You had the crowds at the beach, Memorial Day weekend. You had people defying COVID and going to the beach anyway. Then you had restaurants and bars opening back up. You've had protests in the street. You have Trump out here trying to still do rallies. And when you look at the rallies, the majority of the people don't have any kind of protection on. So what did you really expect to happen in this country? You know, not only are you not getting rid of COVID, it is going to explode in the country over the summer. This is not going to be an easy summer for America. It's going to be a rough ass summer for this country. And, you know, you got Trump walking around here saying he's unconcerned about the spike, but Trump has been unconcerned about COVID since he heard about it. This man has done horrible in leading this country. Horrible. But what do you expect? You know, sometimes you have to admit maybe you are just not suitable to lead. And at this point, ladies and gentlemen, you make the decisions for what you want to do for yourself and your families. Do not let people in this government or the people that got in their minds and in their heads that they are leading, don't follow their lead. As you can see, their leadership has been horrible. If their leadership was so good, we wouldn't be in this situation right now. America has done nothing as far as putting together plans on what to do when a disaster strikes. Anytime you see them doing poorly through hurricanes, you can't expect them to do well through COVID, okay? Just look at the track record of the country when even hurricanes come passing through. In most cases, the people are not helped. They always try to give you the illusion that folks are helped. Folks are not helped. In the Panhandle, since Hurricane Michael, there are still people out there living in tents. Puerto Rico has never got back on their feet since Hurricane Irma. All right. And look at those situations. Now, look, if you see that happening, what makes you think they can handle COVID? Thank you, Hawkeye assassins. You know, the Texas governor, who was the first to open back up, he's talking about sending kids to school. You got to have your head examined to send your children out to school when this thing is still very much rampant in the country. And I was looking at an article last night, and the CDC is estimating that 20 million Americans actually have COVID. They're walking around with this and don't even know it. That's what they're estimating. 20 million people got it. But, you know, every day they keep presenting to us these very low numbers where I know it couldn't possibly be true numbers at all. Every number they're giving us, they are definitely lowballing it. Shay, chosen one, thank you so much for the super chat. Father said they will build, but he is going to throw it down. Absolutely. Amen. Well, he's not concerned about it, Lottie Dottie, because he can't do nothing about it. Trump can't control this thing. He has absolutely no control over what's happening. And, you know, if everybody would have stayed put and not have this angry mob with guns and rifles go up to the Capitol, we would have been better off. Now, as you can see, with the spikes going on in the country, they were wrong about everything. And then their attitude is just get everybody out working. If people drop dead, then train those people, just train some new people and replace them. That's not going to work either. Because if your workers, right, are sick, how are they going to train new people? And who's not to say the new people coming in the door won't get sick too? That's not going to work. You know, but see, this is what happens when you have zero plan and unrealistic goals and goals that are not even workable. People are not going to get back to work anytime soon. And those folks that have returned back to work, ladies and gentlemen, are sick. So why would you keep reopening and sending people out there, and the working folks you got out there right now are sick? So no, you know, I don't care what Trump says about reopening. Look, he can't even keep his staff from getting sick. More of his staff is sick from being at his rallies. And you can best believe those people in the crowd, if his staff attended his rally and got sick, you can believe people in that crowd is sick as well. Just haven't heard anything about it, but believe me, they are sick. He has no business being out here doing any rallies when he know there is no cure for this COVID-19. Why would you put everybody at risk? I mean, this man literally don't care about no one but himself. It's a selfish act. Yeah, well, Trump claims he doesn't wear a mask because it doesn't look good. Well, I don't know what mirrors Trump has in his house. This man don't look good even without COVID being in the country. So it doesn't matter. But you know what? Trump has set such a bad example for this country. It's not even funny. Horrible example. So, ladies and gentlemen, so another thing hitting them in between their eyes is their declining population, which we know has not gone anywhere. And by the way, the opioid plague is still going strong. And people are still dying every single day in this country of opioids. But right now, COVID is overshadowing everything. Everything. You know, sometimes I wonder if Trump even want things to turn around. I don't know, his whole reaction, but they said he lacks empathy, but he also lacks a lot of common sense. Boy, I tell you what, you could not have the most disastrous person leading right now. uh, but I'm at the point, I don't care what they reopen. If I'm not ready to be out there, I'm not going out there. I don't care what these folks say. We've been following their lead for a long time, and it has never turned out well for us. So let's try something different. Let's try to lead ourselves and disregard whatever they say we should do, because they don't even know what people should be doing. They don't even know themselves. We would be better off just going our own way and doing what we feel is right for ourselves and our family. Plain and simple. I have zero confidence in these high IQ people. They have proven that leadership in their hands is a joke. It has not been good leadership for centuries in this country. And it just gets more painful as we go along. Yeah, absolutely. Sure is. There's a lot of judgment going on. And I don't know if any of you heard, but the locusts have reached South America. And right now, Argentina's getting hit. And in the next few days, the locusts will be in Brazil. And Brazil is the second worst with COVID-19 in the world. Thank you, Marianne Scipio. Thank you for the super sticker. So judgment is real. It's real. Just look around you. It's real. It's real. There are a lot of places that have to deal with the fact that they must close now. And there's nothing they can do. But see, their impatience is going to be their downfall. For real. All right, everybody, I'm not going to keep you any longer. And I'm thinking about putting together a current event for tomorrow. So you'll definitely see the notification for a live stream if we do this tomorrow. So just be on the lookout. I know the notifications has been horrible on YouTube. Many of you have your notifications set and you do not get notification at all. And believe me, I've known about that for so long now. All right, family. May the Most High keep you all safe and protected, and may He meet all of your needs during the time of judgment on the Gentile world. Peace, family.